If this were the only evidence we have of visits to the ancient world by beings who could fly, it'd be easy to say it's all just fantasy. But sometimes you have to look down to look up.
Nazca, Peru, one of the great mysteries of the ancient world. From the ground, Nazca is an empty, endless desert. But from the air, the secret of Nazca is revealed. The desert is in fact a tapestry of elaborately carved lines and figures stretching for more than 100 miles. From the air, you can see the famous figures of the spider, the hummingbird, and the monkey. Without the ability to fly, experts don't know how the Nazcans gained the perspective needed to create such elaborate figures on such a huge scale. There's even disagreement about the purpose of these markings. Originally, they were thought to be calendar-related or astronomical guides. No one really knows. But there's more to Nazca than this ancient menagerie.
The real mystery in Nazca are lines, gigantic lines looking like airstrips, and small lines, long, kilometers long.
One of these lines extends 15 miles to the horizon. A giant mountaintop has been sheared off, leveled, and scraped clean to create an impressive runway-like avenue. The question is, why? Did the ancient Nazcans need runways for some kind of flying machines?
This is an amazing mystery. Orthodox history has it that the ancients could not fly, that they did not have the technology to fly. If the ancients did have the technology to fly, then the whole basis of our history is completely up the creek.
So if the Nazcans couldn't fly, what is the purpose of all these runway-like creations? Eric von Daniken thinks he has an answer. His theory? Spaceships landed and left marks on the desert floor. When they returned into the sky, the natives wanted them to come back. Generation after generation, they recreated these lines in tribal ritual, even though the initial visit may have fallen into their past. There is one more clue that the ancient Nazcans may have had a close encounter with extraterrestrials. The figure of El Astronato has watched the skies over Nazca for as many as 3,400 years. Could this strange-looking image be a greeting from a primitive but friendly society to airborne visitors? Only if and when extraterrestrials return to Nazca, Peru, will the mystery of these lines and figures finally be solved. If some kind of flying machine or Vimana did visit the Earth in ancient times, one can imagine the terror some people may have felt in their presence. In Turkey, the eerie landscape is dotted with hundreds of small caves in the soft volcanic rock. But the real mystery of this region can't be seen above ground. Perhaps 2,500 years ago, elaborate cities were carved deep under the earth. Were these intricate maze-like settlements a primitive air raid shelter to protect the citizens from airborne enemies?
There are caves and chambers all over.
One of these cities descends 130 feet underground through as many as 18 stories. This is just one of nearly 200 subterranean cities in the region. Perhaps 30,000 people once lived in them. A tunnel 5 miles long linked two cities together. Experts Experts say the underground cities have been used for many different purposes over the last 2,500 years. Eric von Daniken wonders, why did generation after generation seek refuge beneath the earth? If fleeing an invading army or religious persecution, frightened citizens could have hid in the mountains above ground. Why did people burrow a labyrinth of subterranean chambers underground? What was the true purpose of these cities?
These people were hiding out, afraid of some enemy. But all this doesn't make sense. Any enemy could simply come in here, or they were sitting in a trap. It must have been an airborne enemy. An enemy from the sky.
Still ahead on Chariots of the Gods, the mysteries continue. Why did an ancient culture deform the heads of their children? Then, did extraterrestrials leave a message for us in the giant stones of France? Plus, Eric von Daniken investigates whether visitors from another world taught the ancient Egyptians the secrets of electricity.
Você está assistindo Enigmas, Carruagens dos Deuses. Uma mulher continue assistindo Enigmas, Carruagens dos Deuses.
Chariots of the Gods will continue right here on ABC.
From Stonehenge in England to hundreds of other sites throughout Europe, Asia, and the Americas, there are ancient structures made from giant stones called megaliths.
One of the most impressive megalithic sites in the world is in the Brittany region of France near the town of Carnac. Eric von Daniken has spent years investigating this silent stone monument to our mysterious past. He believes these stones could not have been moved and arranged by primitive man without the help from teachers. Teachers from above.
At least 7,000 years ago, our ancestors created thousands and thousands of stones, and they arranged them in lines. Straight lines for miles and miles.
They loom like giant soldiers marching in formation to the sea. These are the megaliths of Carnac in France.
Now this is the largest megalith ever moved in ancient Europe. It's man-made, cut, as you can see. Once the whole piece was over 60 feet, and its weight was 350 tons.
If these giant stones were moved and arranged 7,000 years ago, they would be among the oldest creations on the planet. But were they created by human beings? At that time in human history, our ancestors were still hunter-gatherers, struggling daily for survival. Their tools were primitive, and the wheel had not yet been invented. How were these thousands of stones transported, and what was their purpose?
Until today, archaeology has no answer for this mystery. Well, since we have computer technology, and since we know how to fly, we might have an answer.
Eric von Daniken reveals his theory that based on aerial reconnaissance, the builders of these alignments had a sophisticated understanding of geometry, triangulation, and the Pythagorean theorem. But these stones were arranged 4,000 years or more before the Greeks supposedly invented geometry. Eric von Daniken wonders who taught the megalithic builders their math lessons. He believes extraterrestrials came to Earth and encoded a message in the stones of Carnac.